Well, hello, fans, and welcome to our installment as we break down the 2019-2020 Bentley University hockey season. My name is Dan Rubin, joined by head coach of the Falcons, Ryan Soderquist. We hope that this video is finding all of you very well, very healthy, and of course safe. Coach, thanks for taking some time to break down what was an interesting season and certainly an interesting end to the season.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, for doing this. And obviously, I hope that anyone that's listening is healthy and safe, and everyone's families are doing okay during these time period.
Obviously, when we relive this season, the first thing anyone's going to talk about is the way it ended. Your team was primarily impacted with the way the week was shaping down. Not to recap too many of the details, but first, some of the ECAC teams had pulled out of the postseason. Bentley was getting ready to play out at AIC. They announced an empty arena, and then finally everything kind of collapsed on itself, for lack of a better term, where AIC was handed the championship of the league as the number one seed, and then the tournament gets canceled anyway. But for you, as you were going down that week and hearing the news reports and seeing everything, first off, how did the team react to everything? And second, for you, how surreal was it just to have to go through practice and not know what was coming the next day?
Yeah, it was to say it was a disappointing ending would be an understatement, and it was really hard for our guys to take, and really hard for me as a coach to watch. The time and effort that the guys put into the season and their commitment level was really, really high. I thought we were playing really good hockey, and coming into that last week, I actually felt really good. I know that some of the schools had announced that they would be playing with no fans, and we kind of looked at that as probably the worst case scenario heading through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That looked like that might happen, but it might be worst case scenario. And then quickly through Wednesday through Thursday, things escalated really fast, and the season was ended, and we were just about to head on the ice for, a practice, and we had to tell the guys, hang on. We had a conference call in a half an hour, and we got to see what's going on. So unfortunately, out of the conference call, the cancellation came, and it was a long walk to head down to the locker room to talk to the guys. And they have phones and they have Twitter, and they know maybe that something's going on. It's a possibility that this could happen. So they weren't ignorant that it might not happen, but to walk in that locker room and announce that it's official, it's the season has come to an end, which was really tough. And every team in the country had to deal with that. And but I said it was just more for our senior group. They had been extremely dedicated and for a 4-year period. To have that ending come to be like that was a tough pill to swallow. But our guys handled it with maturity. They handled it and understood that there's a bigger picture out there, and the COVID situation was for real, and we're fortunate enough to play hockey, and we're just a small piece of the puzzle.
That last weekend before when you sweep Canisius, win that series at home, you mentioned that your team was playing really well. Just down the stretch of the season, the fact that the team had been winning, it had gotten to winning consistently. What was it heading into that postseason series that was clicking so well, and then in that series to play Canisius the way that you did and walk out with a sweep? It seems like every time we go to these postseason series, it goes 3 games, and that didn't happen this year.
Yeah. We played well down the stretch the last month, and I think we were 9-3 down the stretch, 8-2 in league play, coming in off a 4-win straight before the season came to an end there. But I give a lot of credit to our team and our locker room. We were playing with a ton of confidence and having a lot of fun. We'd gone through a couple swings in late January through the beginning of February, where we were dealing with a little adversity, as every team does during the course of the year. And it either makes you or breaks you, and it made us. Our guys did a tremendous job in the locker room coming together down the stretch. And we were playing fun hockey because the guys were excited to come to the arena every day, and they had a big, smile on their face. They were working their tails off, but we were doing it and having some fun. And that was important down the stretch, and unfortunately it came to a quick end.
Within those 2 games too, at the end, I know comebacks and third period rallies had been something earlier in the season. I know we had talked about, but just to watch the team in that last game have Canisius come back the way that they did to tie the game, and the back and forth nature of it, that I think they came back twice. but the fact that you were able to take that lead and then back again and then win that, how satisfying was it knowing that was also going to be, regardless, the last home game of the series for those seniors who were one of the batches that opened that arena?
Yeah, it was really important to see the senior class go out with winning a series in the building. Obviously, they were part of the JAR crew, playing in a public facility, opening the new facility, playing in a series last year that we did not come out a winner, and then to this year hosting a series and winning. So I was very proud of them and their progression there. It was really important to see us as a team this year close that series off in the fashion that we did. Canisius was a really tough opponent. It was a really even series, but we stuck to our guns. We played our game. We never got rattled. And I was really proud of the guys. Early in the year, we had some close games where some teams chipped back on us, and we folded and lost. And that was to show, how close we were as a unit down the stretch. We believed in each other, and we knew we were going to take care of business. So that was really fun to be part of, and really satisfying as a coach to watch a team mature like that and come together.
Big thing about that weekend I remember was the fact the seniors had such a big weekend. I remember Reiner Gorowski having a couple of big goals in there. Jonathan Davian getting I felt like the last laugh of the weekend too, with the way that he was able to score. Aiden Polino and that. Those seniors have meant a lot through the years. I know for me personally, just to get to know them and talk to them. For you to watch them grow over 4 years. I know we talked about it, but the ability to watch them turn into that group and go from freshmen to seniors. What was that like for you behind the bench and through the good and I'm sure through the bad too at some point?
Yeah, it was great to see. I mean, those guys were deserving. They worked their tail off for 4 years. When it mattered most down the stretch, they were there for the team, and they had some big points. And the guys on the back end, like Orr and Brass, they did a great job as well, and maybe didn't end up on the score sheet, but had some great plays. And to see Aiden Polino play his best hockey in net down the stretch and through a playoff series was satisfying. It was satisfying to see because I know the hard work that they put in. I know the dedication that they have away from the arena every single day. I know how much they bled for the program, and it was great to see them have success and win those games down the stretch.
A lot of these guys know each other through the years and know each other through their games. When you're looking at guys like them who are seniors, what does that prove to you, even when you're looking at younger guys who maybe come out of the same junior league and look to them for leadership? When you're talking about those guys and what they brought, was each one a little bit different in the way they approached it? Did they kind of come together as a collective unit? What was it about them together as a unit that maybe you saw individually and collectively with some of those guys that maybe came out of their same pipeline?
I mean, collectively, it's most important. We had a common goal, and they wanted to leave the program in a better spot than they came in, and they wanted to win, and they wanted to win a league championship and an ability to go to an NCAA tournament. So collectively, they had the same goal, which made them a really tight group. But obviously, individually, they were very different, and that's what's fun about being a team. You have different personalities. You have people approach things in different ways. You have a Davian, he's more lighthearted. He plays best when he's light and loose. And you have a guy like Ryan or Gorowski or who are probably playing better hockey when they're a little bit more aggressive and outspoken. So, that's the fun part about being in a locker room is you have different personalities. And you can have different personalities and you can play different styles as long as your common goal is the same. And that's what was really good about that group. And I think that's what was really good about our group the last month is it was okay to have different personalities as long as we have the same common goal and we're working together. And I think that class, was true of that.
Atlantic hockey on the whole, you were slated to play AIC. I think everybody. I remember Eric Lang also said to me after they played in the regular season with you, I don't want to see Bentley in the postseason. And then all of a sudden he was on the road you were on the road to see them. But the league on the whole, when you look at some of those teams, the way the league finished, the way the teams shook down, just what was the competitiveness like, the competition level? I know it's always parity, but how different was it this year?
Yeah, parity's, to say the least. The league is extremely close. College hockey is extremely close. I mean, obviously, when you followed our league this year, any team on any given night could win. As being an East guy, ECAC or Hockey East, everyone's extremely close. But within our league, we have some great players. We have some great coaches. We have some great fans. We have some great universities, colleges. It's extremely close. And most of our guys have played together during junior hockey, played on the same teams, know each other well. So it's a battle every single night. It was tough to see this season end. Felt very confident and strongly where we were playing, who we are, and what we were going to bring to the table. And I'm sure if you look at AIC, Sacred Heart, Niagara, and the teams that were left, all felt the same. I mean, there was a very good balance this year. There was some very good hockey teams, and it would have been great to see the playoffs go on and leave it to the boys to play. It would have been a fun playoffs to watch.
The fact that there were so many Eastern teams that were strong this year, you mentioned it over the other leagues, but within our league in Atlantic Hockey, AIC Sacred Heart first and second, Army West Point fourth, Bentley statistically tied for sixth, but losing out based on tiebreakers at that point. The fact that the Eastern schools have risen. It used to be Holy Cross or Army, and then everyone else kind of filtered in. To see the strength out of these and the way the league has changed and the balance of power has become a little bit more evenly spaced. What's that mean for you, especially the last couple of years where Bentley's been a big part of that?
Yeah, it's been good to see the parity in the league, and obviously don't want to get into East-West talks, but yeah, there's some of the Eastern teams were very competitive this year, and you've seen a lot of commitment from those schools. I mean, the commitment level of Bentley University has been amazing. The building of a $50 million facility, the additional scholarship staffing, the commitment to our marketing in terms of ticket sales, whatever it may be, the excitement on campus. And you've seen that on our campus. So I can speak to, Bentley University's commitment level. And with that commitment level, we have seen some success, and we've done a really good job. And our assistant coaches, and our current assistant coaches and our previous assistant coaches have done a really good job of attracting and recruiting some really good players. So, I think it's great to see that there's parity there. Great to see Bentley be on the rise. It's good to see the job that Eric has done at AIC and CJ at Sacred Heart. It's just good for the league to have such parity as we do now.
If you ask CJ what it's going to be like the first time you walk into a new building down at Sacred Heart by chance?
I have not. I'm very proud of and happy for Sacred Heart and CJ. He's done a really good job there. He's worked his tail off, and I know how hard it is to get a facility built. So I'd be excited to get in that new arena, and he has no idea how hard the next couple of years of his life are going to be building that thing. It's not an easy project, but it's very rewarding.
You mentioned old assistant coaches. We saw one of them this year with St. Lawrence when Coach Murphy came back with the Saints. The non-conference schedule has always been exciting, seeing some of those teams come in, but more so than just seeing them, the fact that you're beating some of those teams. The win over New Hampshire this year, beating Brown, tying Dartmouth in what has turned out to be Bob Gaudette's last his swan song. But for you to see Bentley rise nationally like that, what's that been like for you to see those non-conference games too, and the quality of opponent and be able to go out and beat those teams on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think it shows the growth of our league quite a bit, and the growth of our program. I mean, we have beaten non-conference teams every single year. We do a really good job there. I schedule the hardest non-conference schedule that I can. We want to play the best teams in the country. We want to put up our guys against those guys. I have the confidence that our guys can go out there and beat those teams, and we want to play them. And we've been very fortunate enough to have some really good wins in the last few years, and beating those teams, whether it be Dartmouth, UNH, BC, BU, Maine, Northeastern, multiple times. We've done very well there. Our guys are prepared. They work hard, and it gives our guys an opportunity to prove who they are, and they want that opportunity. And I want to schedule those games to give them that opportunity. So we're going to continue to do that. Our non-conference for this upcoming year is extremely strong, and we'll have BC, BU, Northeastern, at Ohio State, and we're going to have a very competitive schedule there, and we really look forward to taking on those challenges.
One step short of a bean pot. You can instead of going to the Garden, you just defend the trophy at the arena. but the big thing that I know now, the road forward, it's unknown. There's a lot of unknown in there. I think that's every team is dealing with it in their own way. But for you, first off, how has this offseason changed the fact that you can't get out on the road? I know the coaches' meetings have all become virtual, and everything's gone from meeting in person to meeting online. How much has the road changed, and what are some of the challenges and advantages that you've seen in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges, obviously, with recruiting and not having the ability to, one, be on the road and see some guys late in the spring in their playoffs as we would in some of the junior leagues. Also, to be able to fly those guys in and build and maintain that relationship and having them on our campus to show our facilities, to show our campus. At Bentley, firmly believe our rate of return on official visits is very high once student athletes have an opportunity to come see the school and see what's actually there. The physical campus, the arena, the location is a great sell. So it's been a little bit of a challenge in the recruiting. But with that being said, we've been very active recruiting here down the stretch and have landed some really top recruits here in the last few weeks. So we've been very excited about that, and very happy with the work that our staff has put in, and they've done a great job. I mean, my assistant coaches worked their tail off, and they always had, and our previous assistant coaches worked their tails off, and they've done very well for our university. So, it's been challenging, but all schools are in the same boat, and we're working through it.
This the players themselves on the whole, how has their off-season training been impacted? I'm sure it has. There's no gyms available. So how have you been able to check in with them and make sure that they're not that they're staying on the straight and narrow?
Yeah, they do a great job. I mean, I don't have to babysit our guys. We do that through the recruiting process. We recruit high-end character kids that are dedicated to their craft and want to get better. So I know that they're professional. I know they're working hard on their own. So, we do check in. We do Zoom meetings to make sure, just wellness check. I want to make sure that they're doing okay and, mentally doing okay and continue doing well at school. And they're still in a grind, doing online classes and working hard in a new situation for them. So a lot of our talks and communications now are just on wellness and how they're doing with school in general. And in terms of the conditioning side, it's obviously it's a bummer that they don't have the opportunity to be in the gym right now, but they're doing all their body weight and they're working hard. As I said, I do never question their professionalism and how hard they work. I do miss the interaction with the guys every single day, and I'm sure they miss that too. It's, the season's a long season. It can be a grind at times, and then it comes to a quick halt like it did, and now we're sitting home for a few weeks, and I miss the guys. You miss the boys. You miss an opportunity to see guys walking in and see their attitudes and their work ethic and just some guys are fun to be around and you miss being in the locker room. I'll tell you that much.
The fact that they had their year abbreviated, some of the guys who obviously are going to be able to come back next year too. Just the whole attitude and whole perspective. How have they reacted since the end of the season? I know you mentioned the disappointment that they all handled it, but that they all handled it really well. Just their overall attitude as a collective unit in terms of checking on each other too. How is that? What has that shown you?
Our group is extremely close knit. And I tell you what, it's also shown me that they're resilient. I mean, nothing holds them back. When I check in, they have very little questions. They're staying on top of their runs and lifts, and they're doing everything on their own. They're challenging each other, with runs that they're doing and a little chirping each other here and there. They're in good spirits. They're a great group. Their culture is very strong. They're resilient. And, like I said, they're extremely dedicated to their craft, and they just want to get back and work. And they're dogs. They want to work. So, I think that's been hard, is to sit back and see them by computer and they're, kind of holding them back from being able to do what they love. But they're going to continue to do what they can to train and be ready. So when they get the green light to go again, they will be ready.
On the ice, there's a lot of production that's coming back. It seemed like at times when we talked about the line chart that everyone liked to look at the fact that the top line maybe only had 30-point scores, or the second line only had 20-point scores. But by the end of the year, you turned into a team that was capable of depth scoring A number of guys had 4 or 5 goals. In terms of making the next jump out of those players, what is it that you're hoping for out of them heading into next year to take another step and be able to continue the development that they showed at the end of the year?
I think that down the stretch, our team did a really great job in terms of our depth scoring and being balanced in our lines. And I think that was really important. And I think that's why we were successful down the stretch. Our guys from line 1 through 4 were contributing, whether it be on the score sheet or not. And it was blocking shots to scoring, especially our fourth line did a really nice job the last, second half of the year. I actually, credit our fourth line for one of our biggest changes in our lineup and our cultural change and how we played. And that line brought consistency to the lineup every single day with their energy, and that's including practice during the week. So never underestimate, a fourth line that always doesn't end up on the score sheet and what they bring into an organization, because that line right there brought a lot to our program on the second half of the year. And, obviously we returned some pretty heavy hitters in terms of point production guys that have the ability to produce. And I'm going to be very excited to see their growth and see what they bring back next year.
Speaking of heavy hitters, the defensive unit also returns a good amount, and there were some guys there who knew how to go into the corner and protect the defensive area and get dirty when they needed to, in the good kind of dirty, not the bad kind of dirty. But on the back end, how excited are you for two-way players, guys who can cover both ends of the ice and be able to step back defensively and again, the way they developed at the end of the year?
Yeah, we were a little young at the beginning of the year, and I thought the second half of the year they really developed. And we had some guys back there that picked up their game, and 200-foot guys that, probably structured a little bit differently than we had been in the past, where we usually had a guy or two that were really strong on the offensive blue line and point production. And we didn't have that. We had more balance. But every guy that played back there, all 9 of those defensemen that could all play 200 feet and did a really good job of defending first. And, like I said, we had some guys pick up a lot of minutes back there that started off the year a little shaky. And by the end of the year, they were playing their best hockey. So I think our D-core returning is as strong as it's ever been.
And then last is in goal. Aiden Polino, a guy who played 100 games, just about a 40 game winner for you over the years. Again, came on late at the end of the year and put together numbers that were pretty darn good before the year was over in terms of goals against average and was able to step forward. But with him now leaving, Fraser Kirk saw a lot of action this year, saw about 800 minutes or so. You still have Jason Grandy. I believe there's a couple of 1 or 2 prospects in the pipeline too for you. How has your goaltending just kind of turned into one of those quarterback type positions where you can have a guy graduate who had some good production and just move on with the next guy, because that's kind of what you have to do?
Right. Well, obviously goaltending is extremely important. You can't win without goaltending. Special teams and goaltending, we talk about it all the time after games, and we know that. And Aiden had a great career, and excited that he ended on a strong note, and look forward to Kirk and Grande, and we have an incoming recruit as well, Grabko, and really looking forward to those guys competing for that position. I think that we have very strong depth there, and we're going to be very strong in the goaltending position, and we have 3 guys that want that position, want to work hard for it. And, obviously we're excited to see where that takes us. And it's going to be a little bit different of a situation where Aiden had returned the last couple of years and was the kind of guy that got to go in October to start the year. And we knew that. This year it's going to be a different situation. And I'm excited for that. I'm extremely excited, and I'm extremely excited at the growth of the 2 returners that they've had over the last year or 2. And I'm extremely excited of the incoming freshmen that we have coming in as well. So that position I feel really strong about.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking some time out of your, I don't even know what day it is anymore. Whatever day this is, I appreciate you taking some time out. I hope that you are well and stay safe, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, Dan, thank you very much.